It's Coursera course. So have you seen the marks allotted for that course? 4 or 2 marks? I think 2. So you go through the marks allotted for your Coursera course in this semester, not only for CN, COI, IoT also. Very less marks are allotted. So I request you to represent in your department, because if it's a our CN related course, it's a 7 weeks course, I think. 7-week course. Even though 7 week means at least you should give 5 marks, at least. 2 marks is nothing. That's what I am telling. The marks allotment for every course is not good. 2 marks, 3 marks. And one more important thing is it's a minimum 5 weeks, 6 weeks courses are there, right? 2 marks means it is very difficult. I think you will be having 4 courses, right, in the semester? 4 Coursera courses, right? For 4 marks distribution is 2, 3, 4 like that. You go and inform in your department. Okay. Mid, maybe online, because first years are writing online exam only. This mid, I think third mid they are writing. So as I know, online. So I think offline classes is not mandatory, right, till today? Not mandatory. So in the last class, we have started connectionless transport, that is user datagram protocol. So in that user datagram protocol, we have seen what is the UDP segment, UDP segment format, and so source code, destination code, and length of the segment. Then checksum, that is for error control information. Finally, application data. So that these are the things we have seen right in our last class. So there is a possibility of loss of packets, and there is a possibility of delivering the packets out of order or unordered, because in UDP there is no connection, physical connection between, there is no dedicated connection between source and destination. So each segment travels independently between from source to destination. So that's why there is a loss of there is a possibility of loss of packets and out of order delivery. So because it is connectionless, there is no handshaking between sender and receiver. So this format we have seen in the last class. So in place of checksum, we have seen the addition of 2 16-bit numbers, and one's complement of the sum is considered as a checksum. So the calculated checksum is kept in the checksum field, and that is transmitted from sender to receiver. Again at the receiver side, again checksum is calculated. If the calculated checksum and received checksum both are same, the received data is correct. If not same, the received data is not correct. Checksum 16-bit. If you see the format here, look at here, checksum is size of 16 bits. Source port number 16 bit, destination port number 16 bit, length page is also 16 bit, checksum is also 16 bit. First, we need to calculate the sum of the two 16-bit numbers. Then one's complement of that sum is called as checksum. Okay. The carry, leftmost carry is discarded here. So whenever there is a carry, that should be discarded. Then we need to take the one's complement of the sum. That is our checksum. It is a simple one. One's complement of sum is checksum. So here checksum is only error detection thing. Here we are going to use the checksum to detect the errors, not to correct the errors. So there are two error control techniques. One is error detection, second one is error correction. If you see the Hamming code, I think you have studied Hamming code in your PLC, right? Hamming code is capable of detecting as well as correcting the errors, correcting the single bit errors, and it is capable of detecting 2-bit errors, but it is not capable of correcting 2-bit errors. So Hamming code is an example of error correction technique. Correction means detection as well as correction. But here checksum is only error detection method that is used to detect whether there is any error in the received data or not. That's it. If there is an error, the best method is retransmitting the data from sender to receiver. So the next one is the principles of reliable data transfer. We have started this in our last class. So if the communication channel is absolutely reliable or perfectly reliable, there is no need of reliable data protocols at the sender as well as receiver. If the channel is not reliable, we need to implement the reliable data transfer protocols at sender as well as at the receiver. So here you can observe here, if the channel is reliable channel, there is no need of reliable data transfer protocols at sender as well as at the receiver. If the channel is unreliable, we need to implement reliable data transfer protocols, RDT. We have started in the last class. RDT, reliable data transfer protocols. So reliable data transfer protocol at the sending side as well as at the receiving side. So the system must implement these RDT protocols if the channel is unreliable. So usually communication channel is always unreliable. Okay, there is a possibility of errors in the communication channel. So anyway, the system must have reliable data transfer protocols at sending side as well as at the receiving side. So there are variety of reliable data transfer protocols, RDT protocols. So at the sender side as well as the receiver side, it must consist of RDT protocols because the channel is unreliable. So these are the things that takes place in this RDT protocol. So here we are considering that the data transfer is only in one direction, unidirectional data transfer, but the control information will flow in both directions. As I told you, so there are two types of signals. One is data signaling and second one is control signaling. So control signals carries the control information like a connection establishment, those signals. The second one is data signals. So there are two types of signaling techniques. One is in-band signaling, second one is out-of-band signaling. In-band signaling means the same channels are used to carry control signals as well as data signals. The same channels are used to carry control information as well as data. Out of band signaling means different channels are used for control information and original data information. Okay, here we are assuming that the data transfer is only in one direction, but control information will flow on both the directions. Here, no need to look at these finite state machines in these reliable data transfer protocols. So here, reliable data transfer protocol 1.0. So here we are going to discuss 1.0, 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 3.0. So these all comes under reliable data transfer protocols. So in RDT 1.0, we are assuming that the channel is perfectly reliable. The channel is perfectly reliable. If the channel is perfectly reliable, there is no need of these RDT protocols. If the channel is absolutely reliable, there is no bit errors, there is no loss of packets. Simple. Okay, no need of RDT protocol. Here, the channel is perfectly reliable, no bit errors and no loss of packets. Here, sender sends the data into the underlying channel and receives the information from the underlying channel. Simple. RDT 1.0 is simple. Channel is perfectly reliable, no errors, no loss of information. So no need of RDT protocol at sending as well as at the receiver side. So while coming to RDT 2.0, we are assuming that channel with bit errors. So there is a possibility of errors in the communication medium. Now, if this is the case, we are going to see what is the remedy. What is the protocol that has to be implemented in this scenario, right? So underlying channel may flip bits in packets. So here we may use checksum to detect the bit errors. Okay, here checksum is used for error detection, not for correction, right? CRC is another type of error detection technique. CRC, cyclic redundancy check, checksum, parity, CRC, hamming. These are all error detection and correction techniques. So depending on the implementation, we can choose either checksum or CRC depending on the implementation. So here how to recover from errors. In RDT 2.0, we are going to use two control signals. One is acknowledgement, second one is negative acknowledgement. So these are the control signals. These are also called as feedback signals coming from receiver to sender. Coming from receiver to sender. So if you see the acknowledgement, receiver explicitly tells sender that the packet received is okay. If the packet is received correctly, it sends acknowledgement signal. If the packet is not received correctly, it sends negative acknowledgement signal. Because here we assume that the channel with bit errors. So if that is the case, if the sender receives the negative acknowledgement signal, it retransmits the concerned packet. What's the stop and wait to next? So new mechanisms in RDT 2.0 here, error detection is included like checksum, then feedback messages, control messages, acknowledgement and negative acknowledgement from receiver to sender, because the channel is with errors. These are not required, man. So what happens if acknowledgement or negative acknowledgement bits signals are corrupted? Here we assume the channel with bit errors. That's why we are using acknowledgement and negative acknowledgement signals. Those are the feedback signals or control signals from receiver to sender. What happens if these control signals are corrupted? So we have to wait for a certain amount of time at the sender side. If there is a delay or if there is a loss of acknowledgement or negative acknowledgement packets, signals, then retransmission. So sender does not know what happens at the receiver, cannot just retransmit. If you retransmit again, there is a possibility of duplicate packets at the receiver side. So how to handle these duplicates? The sender retransmits the current packet if acknowledgement or negative acknowledgement is corrupted. And here the solution is, one possible solution is sender adds sequence number to every packet. If the same packet is received at the receiver side, the receiver has to delete the duplicate packet. The receiver discards, does not deliver up duplicate packets. So here what happens, see here, if acknowledgement or negative acknowledgement signals are corrupted, the sender waits for the predefined amount of time. If there is no acknowledgement and negative acknowledgement for a certain packet, that is for packet number 1, the sender retransmits the packet to the receiver. Here the problem is acknowledgement or negative acknowledgements are corrupted, but the packet is received at the receiver side, but the control signals are corrupted. Corrupted in the sense, see, there is a predefined amount of time. Within that time, the sender has to receive the acknowledgement signal. If not received, so we are going to use the timer at the center side. Okay. If not received, it retransmits the signal, but it assigns the sequence number. The problem is here the correction of control signals, not the actual data. So based on the sequence number, the receiver has to delete the duplicate packets. The receiver discards duplicate packets based on the sequence number. So here stop and wait, sender sends one packet, then waits for receiver's response. Okay, the receiver's response is either acknowledgement or negative acknowledgement. If an acknowledgement, everything is fine. If NAK, retransmit. So sequence number is for every packet. The sequence number is used to discard the duplicate packets, as well as for acknowledgement also. Acknowledgement for sequence number 1, that means packet 1. Acknowledgement for packet 2. Acknowledgement for packet 3. Let us say negative acknowledgement for packet 3. That means the packet 3 is not received correctly. So his sequence number is added to packet. That is RDT 2.1, stop and wait. Then RDT 2.2, here negative acknowledgement free protocol. Here there is no negative acknowledgement. In RDT 2.2, there is no negative acknowledgement, only acknowledgement. Okay, using acknowledgement only instead of negative acknowledgement, receiver sends acknowledgement for last packet received. Let us say packet 3 received. If the sender receives a response like acknowledgement packet number 3, that means all the packets till packet 3 are received correctly. Here it is not going to use any negative acknowledgement. If there is no positive acknowledgement, means positive acknowledgement. If there is no positive acknowledgement for a certain packet number, again it has to retransmit the packets. Then RDT 3.0, we are assuming that channel with errors and loss. So earlier RDT 2.0, we assumed that there is a channel with bit errors. Here errors and loss of packets, loss of data as well as loss of control messages, both the things. We are going to see all the scenarios here. So here we are assuming that the underlying channel can also lose packets, that data as well as acknowledgements. Acknowledgements are nothing but control messages from receiver to sender. So here we may use checksum, sequence numbers, acknowledgements, retransmissions will be of help. We are using all these in the previous protocols, but they are not enough to solve this problem. So the approach is the sender waits reasonable amount of time for acknowledgement. Retransmit if there is no acknowledgement received in this time. If packet is delayed, not lost, then we will retransmit the packets. That results in duplication. The duplication is handled with sequence numbers. Actually, here there is no loss of packet. The acknowledgement is delayed, but the sender retransmits the same packet. So there is a possibility of duplicate. The duplicate is handled with the sequence numbers. It simply discards or delete the packet. So here the receiver must specify sequence number of packet being acknowledged. So the receiver sends the control information, right? It specifies the sequence number of the packet. Let's say packet 3 is received correctly. Acknowledgement 3 means packet 3 is received correctly. Acknowledgement 4 means packet 4 is received correctly. So it requires countdown timer at the sender side. So let us see, there are 4 scenarios we are going to see in this RDT 3.0. First one is there is no loss. No loss means no loss of packet as well as no loss of control signals. Let us look at the scenario here. Sending packet 0. No loss. Acknowledgement 0. Packet 1. Acknowledgement 1. Packet 0. Acknowledgement 0. No loss of packet. No loss of no loss. No loss means no loss of packets as well as control signals. Second one is packet lost. Packet loss. You can look at the scenario here. So packet 0, acknowledgement 0. Here packet 1 is lost. Packet 1 is lost. So here sender waits for certain amount of time for acknowledgement for packet 1. Here we assume that the packet is lost. So it retransmits the same packet. Again packet 1 is transmitted from sender to receiver. Acknowledgement 1. Next packet, acknowledgement. Here in this scenario you can observe packet loss from sender to receiver. This is second scenario. First one is no loss of information. In second scenario, packet loss. The third scenario, acknowledgement loss. The acknowledgement signal is from receiver to sender, right? Packet 0, acknowledgement 0. Packet 1, acknowledgement lost. But the packet is received correctly. But there is a loss of acknowledgement signal. So after a certain amount of time, the sender resends the same packet number 1 in this scenario. So that is a duplicate packet. So by using the sequence number, the receiver has to discard the same packet. So timeout, resend packet 1, duplicate packet, detect duplicate, right? So it sends the acknowledgement, it has to delete the duplicate packet. Last one is premature timeout or delayed acknowledgement. In second scenario, we have seen packet loss. First scenario, no loss. Second scenario, packet loss. Third scenario, acknowledgement loss. In fourth scenario, there is no loss, but there is a delay. Premature timeout or delayed acknowledgement. Actually, there is a possibility of duplicate. If there is a delay, then definitely there is a possibility of duplicate. You can observe here. So there is a delay in the acknowledgement 1 for packet 1. It retransmits. Detect duplicate. Okay, because of delay in the acknowledgement or premature timeout, there is a possibility of duplicate packets. The receiver has to discard the duplicate packets by observing the sequence number of packets. So these are the things which are going to be implemented as part of RDT 3.0. no loss, then packet loss, then acknowledgement loss, finally premature timeout or delayed acknowledgement. So if you see the performance of this RDT 3.0, so this is the main one. RDT 3.0 is main one. Why? Because in RDT 1.0, we assumed that channel is perfectly reliable. That is practically impossible, right? Because definitely there is a possibility of error in the communication medium. Definitely, it may be wired communication or wireless communication. In second scenario, RDT 2.0, we assumed that the channel with bit errors, but we have not considered the loss of packets. For RDT 3.0, we considered channel with bit errors as well as loss of packets. So if you see the performance of this RDT 3.0, let us assume that these things are, we assumed that link capacity is 1 gigabits per second. There is a propagation delay is 15 milliseconds, and we are assuming that there are 8,000 bits in a packet. If you look at the transmission delay, that is L by R. L is the number of bits in a packet, R is the link capacity. So there are 8,000 bits in a packet. The capacity is 1 giga 10 power 9. So the transmission delay is 8 microseconds. If you see the sender utilization factor is equal to transmission delay by round trip time. RTT stands for round trip time plus transmission delay. So in this scenario, it is equal to 0.00027. Here we are sending one packet and waiting for acknowledgement. Packet acknowledgement. So there is a round trip time is more. The channel ideal time is more, right? We are wasting the channel capacity. Packet 1, we are waiting for response for packet 0. Packet 1, then packet 2. We are waiting for packet 2 response. So if the round trip time is 30 milliseconds, this is the throughput. These calculations are not required. Here in this scenario, we need to know what is utilization factor in this RDT 3.0. So what are the RDT 3.0 we have discussed it till now. So this is the utilization factor for these values. If we look at here, so stop and wait operation. This is simply stop and wait operation. We are sending packet 1, waiting for acknowledgement for packet 1. Then after receiving the acknowledgement, then only we are sending the next packet. We can observe here at sender side, first packet bit transmitted T equal to 0. Last packet bit transmitted at T equal to L by R. This is the propagation delay here from 0 to L by R, because there are in this scenario there are 8,000 bits per packet. So T equal to L by R. You can observe the first packet arrives at this point, the last packet, last bit, first bit and last bit. Then it sends the acknowledgement signal to the sender, right? So the total is called as round trip time plus L by R. Round trip time plus L by R. Acknowledgement arrives, then only at node. Transmission time. So here the total time this is the propagation time. Propagation at node. The amount of time taken by the packet to hand over the packet to the link. So here the acknowledgement arrives, then only it sends the next packet. So here the total time is round trip time plus L by R. Total time is round trip time plus L by R. Okay. So here we see the utilization factor at the sender. In this scenario, this is equal to 0.00027. Okay. Here this is stop and wait protocol. We are sending a packet and waiting for the response for that packet. stop and wait. So this is waste of time. The channel is ideal most of the time. So in order to improve the utilization of factor at the sender side, we need to transmit the packets in parallel, in sequence, pipelining, right? So pipelining is the protocol we are going to implement here, that is used to reduce the utilization, link utilization. The sender allows multiple in-flight yet to be acknowledged packets. So even though there is no response from the receiver, it continuously transmits the packets. Packet 0, packet 1, packet 2. The sender won't wait for acknowledgement from the receiver. Okay. So you can observe here, the range of sequence numbers must be increased. We are going to use more number of sequence numbers. So earlier we used only 2 sequence numbers, 0 and 1. But here if you are going for pipelining, we need to increase more number of sequence number for packets. So earlier packet 0 and packet 1 only we used. But in the practical implementation, we are going to use many number of sequence numbers. So range of sequence numbers must be increased. Then buffering at sender as well as at the receiver because of pipelining. So we are going to send more number of packets in sequence. So we need buffer space at sender as well as at the receiver, as well as we need more number of sequence numbers. Storage only at the node. You can observe here in the first scenario, stop and wait protocol in operation. Only one packet is transmitted or data packet from sender to receiver. Then it waits for acknowledgement. That is the scenario we have seen already. The next important one is pipeline protocol in operation. Here you can observe more number of data packets are sending from sender to receiver. Okay, in buffer, in pipeline. Acknowledgements are also in pipeline. Acknowledgement packets from receiver to sender, data packets from sender to receiver. Okay, here there are 2 generic forms of pipeline protocols we are going to discuss. One is go back M. Second one is select to repeat. So these are the protocols we are going to implement in practice. So these are the main things. So if you are using pipelining, then link utilization will be more. Utilization at the sender will be more. Go back and select to repeat. So these are the 2 pipeline protocols which are going to implement in transport layer. Huh? In flight means I think in sequence, I think. Here the sender won't wait for the response from the receiver, right? It continuously sending the packets. Multiple packets. The sender won't wait for the acknowledgement for particular packet. So these things can be implemented using these 2 protocols. Go back, this scenario can be implemented using these 2 protocols. One is go back and second one is select to repeat. So we will see in detail. So here the pipelining, it increase the utilization. So here we are considering 3 packets in pipeline. So please recall the previous scenario, only 1 packet from sender to receiver. So after receiving the entire packet, it transmits the acknowledgement signals to the sender. But here the sender is not waiting for acknowledgement. It continuously sending 3 packets in pipeline. Packet 0, packet 1, packet 2, for example. So you can observe here the round trip time. The sending of second packet and third packet are part of round trip time. Part of round trip time. So you can observe here the first packet, first bit of first packet here. Then first bit of second packet. First bit of third packet. last bit of third packet. So here after receiving the first packet, last bit, it sends the acknowledgement signal. So this is acknowledgement signal for first packet, acknowledgement signal for second packet, acknowledgement signal for third packet. Okay, whenever it receives the acknowledgement of first packet, it sends the next sequence of packets. That is a packet number 4. So here we are considering only 3 packets in a pipeline. 3 packets in a pipeline. So after it receives the acknowledgement for first packet, it can start the transmitting the packet, next packet, let us say 4th packet, then 4, 5, 6. You can observe here the round trip time and this transmission time, L by R. Here these two are also L by R's. These are part of round trip time. This is a part of round trip time here. Right? So here the sender utilization is 3 L by R by RTT plus L by R. This is 1 L by R, 2 L by R, 3 L by R. Here it is 0.00081. Earlier it is 0.00027, I think, right? Previously this utilization value is 0.00027. Now it is 0.00081. So 3 packet pipelining increase the utilization by a factor of 3. Okay, these scenarios we are going to implement as part of go back and select to repeat protocols. So they are basically pipeline protocols. So if you see the go back and protocol, the sender can have up to n number of unacknowledgement packets in pipeline. The receiver only sends cumulative acknowledgement. Cumulative acknowledgement. Let us say if the sender receives a acknowledgement 3, that means all the first 3 packets are received correctly. Okay. So it does not acknowledge packet if there is a gap. We'll see in detail. No, don't worry. These two go back and as well as selective repeat protocols. These are very important protocols as part of this. The remaining whatever we have discussed, they are very fundamentals before these protocols like RDT 1.0 or 2.0 or 3.0, very basic things. So finally we assumed that the channel with bit errors as well as loss of packets. So in practical, those two things are there in a communication medium. Bit error as well as loss of packet. Those two scenarios will be there in real time. So anyway, we need to consider all those things while implementing the protocols. So final protocols in this scenario are selective repeat and go back and. These two are the name of the protocols. RDT, reliable data transfer protocols. So RDT protocols and major these two. Pipelining RDT కిందకి రావడం కాదు. ప్రాక్టికల్ గా మనం whenever we are transmitting the information from sender to receiver, in general we will use the pipeline concept only. We won't wait for acknowledgement for first packet, second packet like that. If you wait like that, that is practically not acceptable. The utilization is pipelining. So I will see in this scenario, the packets are sending continuously. Some packets will be in buffer, some packets will be in base. They will see in detail. So already acknowledged packets, you can observe here the green color, already acknowledged packets. Yellow color sent, not yet acknowledged. Blue color usable, not yet sent. Finally not usable. The sender always sends the packets in sequence, in parallel, continuously. It sends continuously, right? So in both go back and as well as in selective repeat. So practically this is the thing we are going to implement in real time. Pipelining only we are going to implement. practically. We will see these things in detail. Go back and as well as RDT లో నేనేమన్నానంటే RDT 3.0 ఫైనల్, RDT 1.0 2.0 అనేవి జస్ట్ మనం నేర్చుకోవడం కోసం. నో ఎర్రర్ అనేది అసలు ఇంపాసిబుల్ కదా. ఛానల్ ఈజ్ అబ్జెక్టివ్లీ రిలయబుల్, ప్రాక్టికల్లీ ఇంపాసిబుల్. అక్కడ RDT ప్రోటోకాలే ఉండదు. నెక్స్ట్ కేసులో యూజ్డ్ దట్ ఓన్లీ బిట్ ఎర్రర్స్, నో లాస్ ఆఫ్ ప్యాకెట్స్. అది కూడా ఇంపాసిబుల్. డెఫినెట్లీ దర్ ఇస్ అ లాస్ ఆఫ్ ప్యాకెట్స్. సో ఫైనల్గా మనం కన్సిడర్ చేసింది ఏంటి? ఛానల్ విత్ బిట్ ఎర్రర్స్ యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ లాస్ ఆఫ్ ప్యాకెట్స్. సో అది ప్రాక్టికల్లీ పాసిబుల్. So to overcome those, we are going to use these protocols. To increase the utilization space at the center side, we need to use pipelining. So మనకు initial consider చేసింది only one packet, acknowledgement for that packet. Second packet, acknowledgement. But practically that is not going to that's not the actual scenario. Okay. RDT నే ఇవే మేజర్ RDT. ఇక అందుకని ఇక్కడ నేమింగ్ ఉంది మనకి. గో బ్యాక్ అయినా సెలెక్ట్ రిపీట్ నేమింగ్ ఇచ్చామంటే దీస్ టూ ఆర్ ది RDT ప్రోటోకాల్స్. స్టాప్ అండ్ వెయిట్ అనేది కూడా సొల్యూషన్ కాదు కదా. యూటిలైజేషన్ విల్ బి లెస్. సో వెన్ ఎవర్ యు ఆర్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దీస్ RDT protocols, selective, repeat and go back and protocols. These two protocols are responsible for reliable data transfer. Reliable data transfer between sender and receiver. So we will see these two things in our next class. Go back and as well as selective, repeat. We'll see in detail. Don't worry. Your pipelining, we are considering many packets. We will see many scenarios: loss of packet or timeout, premature timeout, those things. Okay. So these are the things we are going to we are studying as part of reliable data transfer. As we know, the TCP is responsible for reliable data transfer, right? TCP, because there must be a physical communication medium between sender and receiver. So before TCP, we are discussing what are the principles of reliable data transfer. Okay. Okay, ma, 45 minutes. Okay, ma, see you in our next class.